So let's start with the women's Prem. Castleton A 1, Backers A 0.
Yeah, that's a massive result for Castleton A. It keeps them fighting up in that for that championship title with Vikings A.
Is that a surprising result?
To be honest, I thought Backers A might just edge it. I knew it was going to be a fairly close game, but Castleton A, again, I said yesterday, they were going to make me eat my own, make me eat my
Own words.
And they have done again. And what a result! Backers A, for the most part, had most of the possession, but Castleton A scored early on, 1-0 first half, and Backers A just couldn't quite get the finish they needed to earn a point or two. So yeah, really well done to Castleton A. It keeps them in second place. They've scored more goals than any other team in the league still, with 25 goals for, and they're going really, really well this season. I wouldn't be surprised to see them challenging the likes of Valkyries for that second spot, and maybe just challenging Vikings.
Well, I think you should continue voting against Castletown because it obviously works in their favour. And also, proud mum Jane Howland actually messaged me earlier saying Castletown A versus Backers A. That's the two Howland sisters going head to head. So Sophie's sister Molly was playing for Castletown. So tension in the family household tonight? Hopefully not. But moving on to Ramsey versus Saracens, another huge result. You yourself said that you were stunned by this result. It was Ramsey 0, Saracens 2.
Yeah, and it just shows how much work Ramsey have got to do. I mean, Saracens have been whipped a bit this season. They've had some big losses, but today they played the game straight after me up at Ramsey Grammar, and I saw them warming up. They looked really keen to go ahead, so smiles all around, and it showed. 1-0 first half, 2-0 second half. Dulcie Teo and Emma Roberts on the score sheet for Saracens, which is a massive result for them. It's their first two goals of the season. It's their first 2 points of the season. That's really going to help them kick on and really challenge Ramsey for that sort of 6th, 7th position, and maybe just push into that 5th position with Valkyries B in there.
And I personally don't have the Harlequins versus Valkyries A result yet. I don't know if you have it handy.
I've just got a message. Is that it? 10-1 to Valkyries A.
Is that a predictable result, would you say?
Pretty much. I'd say Harlequins have been... Again, they've been struggling, similar to the way to Saracens have, but if they look at Saracens, that should be an inspiration for them, because today, that's a huge result for Saracens. I still can't look past it on the score sheet. But Valkyries A showing their title credentials, and that pushes them into 3rd place and level on points with Vikings and Castleton as well.
Moving on to the men's Prem, we've got Saracens A2, Valkyries A5.
Yes, Saracens A giving Valkyries A really good game. Valkyries A, massive result last week against Vikings A, who seem to always fail at one sort of hurdle every season, and Valkyries A put them to the sword last week, but they overcame a determined Saracens A side. Corey Vaughan and Thomas Dalton Brown on the score sheet for Saracens A. Valkyries A, Duran Killier with 2. Probably the oldest player in the team, Steve Cottier, Kieran Gell and Robin Masson on the score sheet for Valkyries A.
Now, this next game was the one that you predicted to be the game of the day, so Backers B 1, Vikings B 2.
Yeah, and I think I predicted on Friday night. I predicted a Vikings B win, and this lunchtime, I actually predicted a Backers B win because it was one of those. It could have gone either way, and it was such a close game. The reports I've had from the game were that it was just a mighty game to watch. Neither team left anything on the pitch, and what it does do is move Vikings B into 4th place. And like I said, that fight for that 4th position is really, really tight with Ramsey A, Backers B and Vikings B all in there. And Backers B and Vikings B desperate to do their first teams a favour if possible in the second half of the season.
Vikings A 14, Harlequins A 0.
Yeah, expected result. Really, I thought Harlequins A might be able to keep it below 10, even maybe nick a goal themselves.
You did predict this to be 9-1 to Vikings.
I did. I wasn't too far wrong. You know, Harlequins could have done me a favour and scored at least.
Maybe avoid going to Vegas.
John Cooper with 3, Archie Cayley with 3, Dom Hubble and Eddie Cayley both with 2, Steve Ronan, Stevie Crow and Al Birch with 1 there, and that's a result that Vikings A really needed, and probably the game that Vikings A needed after last week.
I don't have the result for Ramsey A versus Backers A yet. I don't.
No, that hasn't come into me yet, but that was a late start.
No problem. Women's Div 1, we've got Vikings B 3, Backers C 0.
Yeah, this looked like it could have been a particularly interesting set of results, but what it does prove is that these two B teams are going head-to-head for this title. Charlie Millward with 2 and Ava Melnick for Vikings B against Backers C. Backers B versus Vikings C. Sam Franklin, Neve Goddard, Isabella Craig and Ellie Harris all scoring 1, and Claire Mason with 2. And that puts both Vikings B and Backers B on 6 points, goal difference of 11. So it's only separated by goals scored at this point in time, which Vikings B have 2 more goals than Backers B. So a really, really tight top half of the table there.
And we've got Valkyries C 0, Castletown B 1.
Yeah, a little bit surprised by this. Valkyries C changed things up a little bit today and didn't quite work out for them. They had a few chances, but they didn't really have, Castletown B are a really, really good side defensively. I mean, if you look at the table, they've only conceded 5 goals. And when you look at the standard of some of the other sides in that league, really, really tough. And that is actually Valkyries C's first goal conceded this year. So they shouldn't be too disheartened by that. They're still thereabouts, only 2 points behind the league leaders. And I still think they'll have a massive say in the destination of the title this year.
Moving on to men's Div 1, we've got Ramsey B 1, Vikings C 6.
Yeah, Vikings C proving their sort of credentials in the top half of the table there. Ramsey B, though, made a really good account of themselves. They were a little short on players today. I mean, even the old Ian Woods came out for a game today, and I heard he quite enjoyed it, so might see him quite a bit more. Dan Stevenson on the score sheet for Ramsey B. Lee Carroll with a really well-taken hat-trick, and Richie Gelder with 2, and I myself with 1.
Yes, how was the game for you?
A little bit painful in the end, but
it sounds it, yeah.
Hit the ground with a bit of a thud, but yeah, I'm all right.
But you're up and walking, which is good to see.
Is the ground okay?
Is the ground okay? Very good. And then we've got Castletown B 1, Backers Colts 2.
A really, really tight game, and I think Tim Lehman, the Backers Colts captain, really thought it was a draw, because I got the text message it was 2-2. Castletown B, one of the Savage brothers, who I've been really impressed with so far this season. They look super skillful. And with a bit more development, they are going to be some real hot prospects. Liam Savage there, and Pete Duchars, second week back, and another couple of goals for him. So it's like he's never been away.
Starting strong, very good. Valkyries B 12, Saracens B 0, but Saracens B only had 9 players.
Yeah, Saracens B have struggled this season for a couple of for full side. The first game of the season they had to forfeit because they couldn't field a full side, and they're still doing well. They're still enjoying themselves. They're not worried about it in any way, shape or form. But Valkyries B, it was always going to be a hard game for them anyway. So Dean Betteridge with 2, Mark Moyer, Rob Milcreast with 2, Mike Deal with 3, and then Chris Thomas, Chris Walton and Dave Hall with 1 each as well. And notes here to say outstanding and unselfish performance by Neil Jacobs, which seems to suggest he got the lion's share of the assists.
Well done, Neil Jacobs. And the Harlequins B in Castletown A game had a late start. So.
I do have a result for that one.
Fantastic.
Thank you to Julie Watterson, who's been keeping me updated minute by minute for the past 30 minutes. Castletown A 11-1 against Harlequins B, which is a really, really good result for them. And if you look at the goals scored in the top half of this men's Division 1, you've got Valkyries B, who scored 27, Vikings C 26, Backers Men's Colts 21, Castletown Men's A 25. You need to see some mighty head-to-head games between these two.
And also last night, I don't know the scores, but the Isle of Man under-14s girls team played Guernsey School up at King William's College. I don't suppose you've heard back.
I do, and the Isle of Man under-14s team won 3-1. And I've got the scores here. They were Hannah Nuttall, Lucy Murphy and Olivia Quayle. Really, really well played.
Fantastic. Well done to them. And also the Isle of Man King William's College girls are away in Guernsey today playing. So
I haven't had any results or any updates for that one just yet.
Okay, well, fingers crossed for them. And thank you very much, Sam Spooner.
Thank you.